Hello, and welcome to Weed and Grub.
Welcome to the 2024 edition of Weed and Grub, everyone. A couple of plugs up top. We are going on tour, the Feds Can Fuck Off tour. Our first dates, 3-1 Berkeley, California, 3-3 Sacramento, California, 3-6 San Diego, California. Come on out. We've got games, we've got prizes, we've got stand-up, we've got giveaways, we've got laughs, we've got snacks, we've got...
A potato.
We've got it all. Tour dates are going to be in our show description and, as always, on our Instagram at Weed and Grub in the bio link.
Heyo.
Heyo.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You ready to kick off 2024?
I am.
Well, do you even like surprises?
It depends.
That's fair.
It truly depends.
Yeah.
I'm careful with surprises. I'm not going to say a blanket yes,
Mhm.
but sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
I, especially coming off of a very spiky Ladka episode last year, I wanted to come in with gratitude, grace, and kindness.
Oh, good.
And so I thought I would start off our first episode of 2024 with a surprise.
Okay.
So as soon as we stopped that episode, I went on vacation.
Great.
But my vacation consisted of ordering so much Domino's, they sent me a free pizza.
Wow.
Because they were like, hey, man, you're ordering a lot. Here's a free one. It's like, thanks, guys. Watching a ton of Netflix and learning how to roll joints better.
Great.
Because I'm so bad at rolling joints and it's embarrassing.
That is a wonderful use of your time on vacation.
So I went through so much weed, and my very last joint I wanted to save for the podcast and bring you a new and improved roll and get your honest opinion on it. I'm getting better. I'm doing the best I can.
I'm so excited. Also, this feels like a little peace offering.
It is. It 100% is. Okay, let's call it what it is. It's also an I'm so sorry peace pipe.
Thank you very much. Thank you. For those who didn't listen to last week's episode, we got into it over some sneaky latke seasoning and some other stuff too. And and we had someone write into us and just say like, what's going on? And it was like, well, holidays are tricky. We were both feeling spiky. Emotions can run high for, I think, all of us around the holidays. And especially we've been pretty open and honest about how we were both like, there's stuff happening. So this is a wonderful way to start off the new year with a beautifully rolled joint. I do have a question. Which end do I hit and which end do I light?
So I rolled up both ends because...
For transport?
For transport. But the longer twist is the lighting end, and then I guess we can untwist the other end.
Okay.
Also, shout out to John Capetta because he doesn't use filters when he rolls.
I've stopped using filters as well.
Yeah. And because I was really struggling, like I don't know how to hold it in and roll it up and it all falls out. And so when I was hanging out with Capetta on Christmas Day Eve, he was rolling joints and he didn't use a filter once. And I was like, oh, it's not required.
That's so, well, also when you're smoking good weed and it's sticky, like it all just kind of holds together in that. So this is the end that I hit. Okay, great. Thank you so much. What am I smoking? What is this?
Okay. So that is from Humboldt. That is the farm cut from those small Humboldt farms that all teamed up together to make one delicious strain. So I need all your honest opinions because 2024, one of my resolutions is to be able to like roll. Like I want to be able to hang with the homies. So give me all your thoughts.
The roll is great. I just had to untwist that end a little more and get that sorted out. But hang on a second.
Okay.
The roll is great. Yeah, it's packed really well. And it hits nicely. I like this weed a lot too.
Yeah, it's good. It's mellow. It doesn't knock your socks off stoned wise, but it's tasty and it gets the job done.
And it doesn't need a filter.
Okay. Sorry I cut you off when you were saying like you stopped using filters as well. You're over it.
Yeah, although I'm having here. Why don't you light it?
Okay.
I'm having a tough time.
So that's my big thing is like I don't know. I don't have a it's rolled too tightly now. So what happens is this is actually a really long filter. But when I roll, everything goes to the middles and falls out the sides. And then I tap, and then I rip off each end of the paper and because everything's compact in the middle. And so it's not evenly distributed and it's way too tight to actually get any pull from was the thing I kept running into.
It's interesting. I wonder if you would have an easier time rolling blunts. I think you might find that you, or like, you know, there are all sorts of different wrappers, like there are like hemp blunt wrappers and palm leaves and everything. You might have an easier time getting a better shape with a blunt wrapper.
Yeah. The thing is that like a joint will last me a whole movie.
Yeah.
And a blunt would last me 2 movies.
I don't know what your smoking intake is. It's great though, and thank you for sharing it. I'm rolling right now. I'm judging the Women's Canna Awards, and they dropped off my judging kits over the holidays, and I have like 62 SKUs to get through, and about half of those are flour and half of them are edible. So it's a great time. I've taken them over to friends' houses a couple of times over the holiday. I was just showing up with bags of stuff, and I'm like, "Can you all help me like write down notes, sample it?" Like there were 2 parties that I went to specifically. One was a pajama party and one was just like a friend hang where we just like were all smoking and taking notes while we like played board games and stuff. And it was great. And one of the things that they sent in the kit was a little roller to make it easier. And I've just been rolling up using that and not using a filter. And it's been really nice.
Nice.
Because when it's good sticky flour, you know, you get to really taste it without the filter. And it doesn't really need it. This is great, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy
What up,
New
Mary
Year.
Jane? Happy New Year.
Sorry, I stepped on you.
What up, Mary Jane?
How's it going, Mike?
Really good. Welcome to Weed and Grub 2024, everyone. This is a podcast about comedy,
Cannabis,
culture,
cooking,
calling shit out,
and being kind.
and being kind.
And compassionate and enjoying kind weed and good food.
Kind weed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
This is kind weed.
Kind weed, good food. I mean, the name of our podcast says what we're about, you know, cornerstones for conversations about everything under the sun with weed and grub.
Yeah. And new beginnings, because I just saw your very first sandwich post at It's the Mayo for Me of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thanks.
it's inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I would love to. I actually got a little screen grab of what the sandwich was about because it was about new beginnings. And it's just this story. I went home to Newfoundland in December to deal with some big family stuff. And while I was there in my house, I was looking at, you know, all of the things and just having all of the memories. And I came across this old dead plant. And it just made me feel really sad because I remember bringing home a cutting of that plant when I was in 2nd grade in a little styrofoam cup. And I was so proud of it. I think won it at a white elephant, but I remember it specifically being 2nd grade. I remember bringing it home. I remember the cup. I remember like giving it to my mom and dad and being like, you know, I brought this home, and they potted it. And then that plant took root and it grew and grew and grew into all of these different pots, and it was distributed all over the house. It's this really cool plant called a piggyback plant that just proliferates. And as it grows on each leaf, all of these tiny little sprouts grow along the edge of the leaf, like they're piggybacking on the leaf.
Uh-huh.
And then they fall off and they proliferate. And so it's like an awesome plant that can just grow and grow and grow all over the place. And so as I grew up, the plant grew with me. Anyway, when my dad died 7 years ago now, most of the aquariums and plants went to other homes because he was the one who took care of them. But this plant just stayed in a pot on the windowsill. And then, you know, my mom's just been really slowing down. And this just never got watered. And I came across it and it was just dead. And I was like, so sad. And I was like grieving for this plant because it was, you know, a representation of all of these other things and people that I've lost and that I miss. And then one of the women who I was with looked at it and she was like, no, look closer. You can take that there was one little sprout off it. And she was like, you can take that with you and plant it when you get back to LA. So I brought it back and I planted it just before the holidays, and I looked at it and it's sprouting, and it's just this new growth, new life of this plant that has been with me my whole life. It felt super meaningful, and I made a little sandwich about it, and all of the comments are so kind and lovely, and you know, just wishing all of us healing and, you know, moving forward and growth in the new year. And so just, yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's incredible.
That's my little plant.
How did you transport it? Did you have to put it like in a condom or anything?
No. I just put it in a film canister, you know, like those old school film canisters. I just put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
That's so great.
My piggyback plant. Yeah.
Wow. Congrats.
Thanks.
Especially getting through all of that and then coming back with true like sprouting of new beginnings.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It was pretty great. And so, yeah, it was just sort of in keeping with like all of the things for the holidays, cutting cords and moving on towards growth and healing and all of that kind of stuff. And like this was really like taking this from that dead pot and then getting rid of that whole big dead pot and just bringing back this one little piece. And so when I manage to grow this into a whole plant, then I'll be able to take cuttings and share them with friends. And then everyone can have a piece.
That's so neat. My stomach just growled about it. Like I'm hungry for that kind of connection. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Wow. Okay, I don't know where to go from there. I'm stoned and that feels beautiful. Like I could call it.
Well,
like,
we can talk about
great.
we can talk about the beautiful experience that you had that I think you really enjoyed. That
Oh, speaking of starving, you filled me up.
Okay.
You filled me up. Man, I didn't know how hungry I was until I went to the Luna Carnival art exhibit. I think presented by Drake and a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a shirt from it. Shout out Basquiat. Shout out 1987 Luna.
Uh-huh.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to get into museum etiquette and I want to get into how I explore a museum.
Do we need to pause, Mark? Okay.
But also, Mark, are we recording?
Yeah. He's saying go ahead.
Okay, great. Shout out producer Mark, 2024,
Mark's
coming in hot.
Switching out batteries behind the scenes as we chat and talk. And he's truly doing like an entrapment kind of Catherine Zeta-Jones sexy move. He's wearing a cat suit.
Yeah, he is.
He's got his cheekbones are as nice as hers.
That's
you
true.
don't have the rack, but he's got the legs. Okay.
We're back?
We're back.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Zeta.
And shout out
Jones.
Noodle, studio dog, who's the chillest, mellowest. He's just lying on the floor looking so chill.
The
So
freaking
nice.
best. So I guess I'll give like a backstory to Luna, and then because you also went after I did.
I did.
So Luna, actually, let's do this together.
Sure.
Because you had such strong opinions too about it. So Luna was a carnival that took place at the where they got a bunch of artists together who would design like a carousel. Like Basquiat did a carousel. Keith Haring did a Basquiat did a Ferris wheel. Keith Haring did a carousel, and there was just all this beautiful art everywhere. Geodesic domes by Salvador Dali, and then it all disappeared after 1987, and it was just unearthed in all of these shipping containers. And Drake and a bunch of people put their money together to open it as an exhibit here in Los Angeles currently.
Yeah. And the idea behind it was that it was an amusement park for the people. So all of these artists came together to create this gathering place that was full of art that was designed for people to interact with and enjoy, that was opened to the crowds. I think did you say it was 87?
Well, this says 87, but
Okay.
also all of the descriptions within it were about the tail end of World War II and fascism.
Well,
and
that's
so I
what
don't really know
those
what
artists were born largely like in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. A lot of the Andre Heller, who was the guy who brought it all together, was born at that time, and many of them were hugely impacted, or their families were, by the Second World War and the rise of the Nazis and fascism in Italy and beyond. And so their artwork was a direct response to that kind of oppression. And the idea was that art is a response to fascism and can actually combat the rise of fascism. If people are given access to art and things that connect them, then they won't respond to the pull of fascism. And I actually took a screenshot of that very sentiment and I put it on my story. If you talk a bit about it for a moment, I can actually read what the statement said.
Yeah, so I think what's interesting is you gave me a ticket to this as a Christmas gift, but you also only got me one ticket because you know that I only go to museums by myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to go with anyone. I have a very specific museum plan, and it does not involve other people, but it also does involve me asking other people to take photos for me. So I would go to a museum with you, but I was really glad to go solo to this one because I could really lean into the type of experience that a museum means to me. And I stayed there for 4 freaking hours.
I'm so glad.
ham.
I really did think about like buying 2 tickets and like taking you as and then I was like, no, this is just, I think that he will enjoy
I mean, even going
a solo experience.
Yeah, even when I was gonna like visit LA to see if I was gonna move here, I went to the Beyond the street art exhibit alone.
Yeah.
I went to the Hollywood Bowl alone.
You went to see Dudamel.
I went to see freaking Dudamel.
Not compose. What does he do? Conduct.
Yeah.
alone.
composition.
Yes.
Yeah.
He conducts compositions.
Yeah.
With his little wand.
His tiny little wand. Oh, is that your little wand, Dudamel?
Oh, what a cute little wand.
No, that's nice. What is like a chopstick?
Here, I just pulled up the origin story. Can I read a little bit from it for the Luna Luna situation? Part mood board, part cultural history. This timeline shines a light on how the world's first art amusement park came to be. So it's like this whole sort of like walk through timeline where you could see they were I mean, it's a fucking timeline. It's like, here's what's happening here and here's what's happening over here at the same time. And then you can kind of connect the dots of like, oh yeah, the Nazis were rising to power at the same time as this artist was born, yada, yada. So it says, what were some of the critical elements of art and culture that inspired Heller and made Luna Luna possible? For artists of the post-World War II period, art was a powerful mechanism for questioning society's values, a way to both engage with and escape the 20th century's conflicts and traumas. Luna Luna's emphasis on joy and play and its democratic values of audience participation were born of a desire to harness the power of art to ensure that fascism could never again take hold of the public imagination.
Wow.
So that was the idea behind Luna Luna at the time, and supposedly also behind the idea of bringing it back. And we'll get into it.
Well, we have to now. You said the word supposedly. I can't think of a more foreshadowy word than supposedly.
I had thoughts, Mike, but let's hear about your experience.
Well, no, because mine are positive.
Yeah, I know. So let's get into the positive first.
You want to do good news first?
Yeah, please. Always.
Okay. I didn't know you were good news then bad news. Okay, so my whole deal at a museum is I think the point of, especially with things like street art and graffiti and taking something as ubiquitous as a carousel and then turning it into a statement and a piece. And Basquiat's Ferris wheel is all white with all of this, like, it has the word Jim Crow all over it. It has all of this like slave imagery. It has a lot to do with the time he grew up in and history, especially for African Americans. And to have an all white Ferris wheel with all of that imagery on it is fucking brilliant. And so my thinking is, well, I should use that kind of construction to make my own art while I'm there. So I'm taking what I think of as creative and artistic photos of myself with the art. It's not just like a picture of the thing and here's a picture of me. I'm trying to become a part of the entire experience. So there was a moment when a conductor, not Dudamel, but a different conductor, is painted on the side of a facade and he has someone farting in his face while he's conducting.
Yeah.
And so I asked someone to take a picture of me crouched like the conductor so that the fart was in my face as if I was the conductor too. And it made everyone around me laugh and that's fine. But my point was to use the environment for my own creative outlet. And that is what fills me up at a museum. But also that's why I want to go alone so that I can really take those chances and take those risks and get yelled at a little bit by the staff for crossing the do not cross this line all the time.
Sure.
I'm just continually crossing that line, but fuck them. Like, it's a graffiti art piece. It's all about street art. And so I'm not going to play by the rules because this whole thing is about not playing by the rules. It's about destroying fascism. So I'm not going to play by the rules. I'm going to destroy the order of things to create more art. And that is my favorite part of a museum. That's why MoMA I love because it's modern art, so you can interact with it. But I'm not a big fan of like fat babies and creamy tummies from the portrait eras of the Renaissance because it doesn't do anything for me and I can't interact with it in a way that allows me to put my own creative output into it.
Sure. It all has a place in the world, but it's not for you. That's totally, understandable.
So that is my experience at Luna Luna is just like complete. I even they had one of the cargo containers there and it was covered in dust. So I wrote my name in the dust and tagged it. And somebody was like, oh, and I was like, whatever, I'm here to tag it up. Let's go. I'm an artist too. So hopefully my name is going to continue to be in the dust of Luna Luna for the rest of the time.
You really need to go to Burning Man, Mike. I'll just leave that there. We don't even need to talk about it, but go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad that you had a wonderful time and that you felt filled up. And the pictures that you took and you got other people to take of you were really cool. And I think you were exactly the right person to have that experience. Like, I'm glad that was a gift that I gave you that you enjoyed. Like, it means a lot that you liked it. And I'm so glad because you texted me right afterwards and you were like, that was the fucking coolest thing ever. And I was like, wonderful.
Yep.
Could make me feel better.
Unreal. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And what was your experience?
Well, I went the next morning and I want my money back. But not because I didn't like it. I did like it. I thought it was really fucking cool. That timeline was one of my favorite pieces about it, where it was showing how it all fit into the world at that time, how those artists were responding to oppression and dictatorships. And Basquiat was responding to racism and slavery. And Keith Haring was talking about like making art about being a gay man in New York. And, you know, like all of these artists were all expressions of, you know, outrage at the unfairness of the world, but then making it fun and beautiful and cool and interactive. And when that happened and it was opened up to the people as an amusement park, there's a documentary film that you get to sit down and watch. And there are all of these hordes of people on the rides, enjoying the rides, touching the rides, getting pictures taken in front of the rides with various actors and character and artists. And this was so weird because they had totally taken this whole art amusement park that was made for the people to interact with, and they've commodified it. It's expensive. The tickets are expensive.
Yeah,
and
they
then
are.
you can't touch or interact. Like, to your point, I couldn't get on a ride and there were no performers in like weird costumes and stuff. I mean, my understanding is that there are performers there sometimes maybe in the evenings or something.
I saw someone juggling. I saw a puppeteer.
You did?
So yes.
Okay. When I was there were no performers.
Yeah, this wasn't until like 7 at night.
Yeah. And everything was just like, I was like, oh, so you took something that was an artistic expression of outrage against fascism and oppression, and that was made for the people to connect them and foster a sense of community, and you put it behind glass to commodify it and charge a bunch of money for it. And there's like all a bunch of upgrades that you can get in the experience. Like you can go in and pay your ticket, and then you still have to pay more money to like get inside David Hockney's Enchanted Tree. I was like, Drake, you have a bazillion, gazillion, patrillion, manillion dollars, and you owe the world a few fucking favors for some of the shit that you've said and done. I'm not saying you shouldn't make money, but like you should make this free for at least one fucking day a week or something. I'm not saying every ticket has to be free even. I think the whole fucking thing should be free. I think the whole thing should be free. But at the very least, like most museums have a day where you can go between 5 and 7 and you can like get into certain exhibits for free. At least that. There is none of that. There is no giving back to the people. The gift shop, I was like, how much is a pack of stickers? Like,
yeah.
Okay, so that was my main beef with it, was not that I didn't enjoy it or have a great time walking around and looking at stuff and taking pictures and like really marveling at that Basquiat Ferris wheel. It's fucking incredible. But that was my main thing. And then also, and this was just because it's very of the time. It was, you know, 70s and 80s. It was just very male.
Yeah.
And that's just that artwork and that time of the artwork. And I'm just very aware of that. And like, it's not that it's not for me, because it's fucking fascinating and I do want to look at it and learn more about it. But I'm also like, so where in this documentary or in the original amusement park were the women, and where are the women in this particular iteration of it? I'm just wondering. I was just curious about that. And
Sure.
That wasn't even a beef. I was just like, huh. But give me my money back, Drake. Like, make this free. And I can afford a ticket, but make it fucking free. You know what I mean?
You should make it free one day. You should do something so that everyone can come be a part of this.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't exactly know what fascism is, but I know that the way you're talking about this art piece feels closer to fascism than freedom. So
because you and I have talked a little bit about this, like the textbook definition of fascism is like, a lot of people throw the word around, right? But the textbook definition of fascism is a totalitarian style of government in which there is like one charismatic leader, Mussolini, Stalin, maybe the former guy, who rises to power by consolidating power by othering other groups of people, immigrants, the gays, the Jews, the like, you know, like just saying like, we are in the right and we are good and it is us against them. And then they increasingly implement really rigid structures of power and economy that benefit that group of people, that protected class of people, and everyone else fucking suffers. That's like a super, super, super simple textbook definition.
I feel like a lot of science fiction films I've seen are starting to make more sense to me now.
Totalitarianism.
Right.
You're like,
Okay.
yeah, you're reading 1984. That's like the expression of like absolute fucking fascism, right? Like,
got it.
So it's, And that's why it's terrifying, is because like if it benefits you and you're in power because of it, then it feels fucking great because the whole system works for you. But if you are not one of the people that benefits, and it gradually benefits no one ultimately, it's fucking terrifying. And so I think that like it's so fascinating because during the Second World War, Stalin and Mussolini were fascists, and the fucking Nazi party and Hitler were all sort of saying like, we have this protected class of people and they should be in power, and then all of these other people should either fucking be executed or just not have anything. And we are seeing that happen again now in many ways, this sort of like neo-fascism. And it's like, how is this possible? How can this be happening? Why do we have such short memories? And I think the call to be connected to art and be connected to community is a really fucking cool way to say like, yeah, does art have the power to combat what is happening again? To actually, for me, to be reconnected to all of these other groups of people and not feel superior or inferior, but feel in balance because of the connection and the power of art.
Yeah.
I hope that it's possible.
So you make me think of two things now that I understand fascism.
I mean, I barely understand it, but like that's basics that I understand.
My pushback on your idea of like interacting with this is it was preserved forever, and you don't want little kids climbing all over this like historical thing.
For sure.
A more artistic and interesting choice is to let kids climb all over it and destroy these pieces and let Keith Haring's like colors chip away and have it all fall in a way that is even more emblematic of the America we live in today. If that was something that would be allowed, to see what that destruction, what beauty would come out of that destruction, what the cleanliness and the refurbishing of a lot of these pieces, allow them to decay, allow them to be used, allow them to speak for the use of the people by the people. I think it's a very interesting art piece.
I think it could have been interesting, but obviously you don't want to destroy original artworks by important artists who are now fucking dead. But my pitch would be make a couple of reconstructions that we can interact with. Like that Kenny Scharf swing.
Yeah, that was really neat.
Was so beautiful. His work is so iconic. I also had no idea that he was that old. Like that Kenny Scharf was actually making art that long ago, because I feel like he's just gotten famous in like the last 20 years. But he's obviously been very famous for a super fucking long time.
I didn't know that.
I had no idea. But it would have been so cool to build a reconstruction like that and put it out in the parking lot, or have like a couple of like an adjacent immersive experience carnival popped up in the parking lot where you can actually not pay more money, but just maybe get on some rides and be like, oh, this feels like a carnival. Like it's billed as an amusement park. And I was like, I was not amused.
Were you parked?
I was parked and I fucking paid for it. It was like 20 extra bucks. Jesus Christ. Anyway, no, I really did love it. I think it's so fucking cool. I think it is important to bring this art back and show, like, look, 40 years ago, these artists were screaming, like, let us not forget about the horrors of the Second World War and the Vietnam War. Art is important to not forget these things. And now here we fucking are. There's war everywhere we look. And it just feels like, yeah, what are we doing?
So the Weed and Grub question of the ep is, what art is out there that is really turning your screws, making you happy and horny out there? Because this did it for me, but for you, it represented something that is so today that it feels like okay, and especially coming into in these times, in these times. What is the art today that is combating fascism and all of the things?
I have learned a ton from our friend Andrea Guzzetta and her beautiful account where she makes art that's about death and beauty and memento mori and all this stuff, where she paints in like really bright and beautiful colors, but a lot of it is about decay and the cycle of life and death. So follow her just because of her work. But then she's also introduced me to a ton of really interesting artists who are coming up. Some of them are working in fabric and yarn that are like, there's one artist, I can't remember their name. I'll see if I can find it and put it in the show notes. But there's very specifically, like, they combat the idea that like fabric art is not worth anything because it's quote unquote feminine. But then they make these like huge fucking pieces that just are like cover giant fucking museum walls and are like, so intricate and so incredible. Like, how could you look at that and say that that's not like legitimate? Because it's not like spray paint or something. It's just really interesting, like the different politicizations of different like forms of art and how you express yourself in different media and different colors and everything. But like I'm really into some of these like younger queer and female artists who are coming up that I'm learning about through Andrea's account. And also, I mean, always street art's so fucking interesting, you know? Follow Claw Money if you don't. Like she's one of the OG fucking artists to, you know, get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I want to hear from everyone. What's out there? What do you like?
Oh,
Who do you like?
I just said a bunch of stuff. Why don't you say some stuff that you like right now?
Because it's for me it's Neckface, Basquiat, JR always. That guy who does the glacier paintings on the huge blocks of ice of the faces, and then as the block of ice in the middle of the Arctic Circle melts away, so does the face. That kind of stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But I can't remember their name.
Okay.
It's not Mike Glazer, so I don't really know what it is. Speaking of decay and everything falling away, you wanted to talk about what?
Oh, dead malls, just briefly, because I saw a TikTok from a guy who have you ever seen him? He does that sing-songy voice modulator on TikTok, and he used to be in a Christian fundamentalist church. And he's like, when I was in a Christian fundamentalist church in the 90s.
I can't, that is not pleasing to my ears.
Oh, okay.
That rhythm, that sound, that pitch does not agree with these little lobes.
Okay.
My stirrup, my anvil.
Yep.
They all go.
You don't like it. I find him funny. I follow
shoehorn.
him. And I
don't know what the other bone is.
He was, the shin bone.
What's the other bone?
In your ear?
Stirrup, anvil. And what's the third one? Cloaca?
Horseshoe?
Horseshoe.
Is it?
I think it's horseshoe. I think it's horseshoe.
I think cloaca has to do with the genitalia, doesn't it? We don't know.
Yes. That is a bird hole.
Yeah.
That's a bird hole.
Yeah, I think the cloaca
not an ear hole.
Yeah.
Mark.
It's like you don't have a cloaca in your ear, Mike. Lord God.
Good Lord. What are the 3 ear bones, Mark?
Mark says
No, they're fun names.
Malleus.
No,
Incubus.
that's not fun. Incubus.
Oh, we don't know.
Primus.
We're learning
Incubus,
on air. We're doing it on the fly.
Meshuggah.
Okay.
So anyway, malls are dead.
Well, he was walking around a mall in his hometown and just talking about, pointing at empty storefronts, darkened storefronts. It looks like the set of like The Last of Us or, any zombie movie. What's that one with Sarah Polley? Dawn of the Dead? Day of the Dead.
Is it mall? It's a mall zombie movie where they're in the mall and
with Sarah Polley.
It's all about capitalism, consumerism from a mall.
I mean, they all are, right? But yeah,
they are. But that one, like, you can't get. I even got that. I was like, oh yeah, I know what that is.
Oh shit, this is about capitalism.
Yeah.
It's so fuck. I love Sarah Polley. Anyway, it just looks like a set from any of those movies. He's just pointing at empty Cinnabons and being like, "This is where we used to hang out when I was a teenager." And I was thinking about it because I hung out at the Games Arcade downtown and at the Avalon Mall when I could get to the mall, when I could get a ride, which wasn't all that often, but it was like, I guess most weekends. And I was thinking about mall culture and how important it was to us as a teenager. It was my formative years to be able to safely go to a like brightly lit place and walk around and look at things without getting in too much trouble.
Yeah.
And then I heard something on NPR about how like that mall culture, really with malls dying, disappeared. And like, where do the kids go now? And there's sort of a revival happening.
Oh, good.
But I wanted to talk to you about it because I know like I was in St. John's, Newfoundland, and you were in St. Louis, Missouri. But you were also like a mall kid, right? Like
mall kid was my first, not my first job. Some of my first jobs were 2 mall stores. Yeah. One was Express for Men, where I wore bright lime green and fluorescent orange collared shirts, black pants, a shiny belt, and some shiny shoes, and sold club clothes to other overly cologned men.
Wow.
That was one. And the other one was Spencer's Gifts.
Yes.
Where I had blue hair and bleached eyebrows and a tongue ring and sold shot glasses and eye patches. So it's 2 sides.
And then would your friends come around and get you after work and you'd like all walk around together and stuff?
No, but I made friends there. And we all stole stuff for each other. We all hooked it up. We all I made friends there. And then on the weekend, me and my friends would all get ripped out of our minds and go see movies at the mall.
That was so fun.
And we would get there early so we could like go to a bunch of the stores and check out what's new at Foot Locker and then go see the movie. And then, and so, I spent a lot of time there and I loved it. I think I held hands with a chick there.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
That's a big deal. I remember holding hands with Jason Geary at the Avalon Mall and I was like, oh my God, I'm basically married. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
And you hold hands so long that it gets sweaty.
Yes, exactly.
And then you don't know when to let go.
But it's still cold for some reason.
Yes,
like
just the
why
whole
am
thing.
I cold?
And you don't know
but
how to
sweating?
kiss, but you try and mash faces. It's just like such a wonderful, awkward, funny time.
And that should happen outside of an Auntie Anne's.
Yeah.
Right? That should happen outside of while you're both holding orange Julius's. That's appropriate. I'm so glad it's coming back because I was thinking the other day about, and I'm so not tapped into what age are we talking here? Like 12, 13, 14?
Yeah.
Like your mom dropping you off?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, I was like, it's so weird. I don't know a lot of kids who are 12 to 14. Thank God. But like they all have jobs now. Like they're all on TikTok trying to get famous and they're all trying to get through school and they're all like connecting through the internet. It seems to me, maybe I'm wrong, because they're still playing sports. They'll still have community activities. They're still doing all the things. But it's weird how all I see of kids is them
on the internet
in their bedroom with a front facing camera playing Twitch or trying to like do a dance or something meaningful to them. But it also feels like they're already giving themselves jobs in this society. So the idea of going to the mall and just like stealing some earrings and, getting a free sample of orange chicken from Panda Express is so important. So I'm so glad that's coming back.
Well, I don't know the statistics around like where it went and when it's coming back and how many kids are on the internet versus how many kids are like actually going out in the real world again. But like, obviously the pandemic took 3 formative years away from an entire generation of kids who now just like are desperate to like see each other in the flesh. I think.
I hope.
So I those are the kids who would be the age where they're going to the fucking mall. But I also feel like that whole world of like YouTubers who were just, like 8 years old unboxing things and TikTokers who were just dancing like Charlie, whatever her name is. They're certainly not coming across my For You page or my fucking YouTube anymore. Do you see those guys? Like, I feel like most of the TikToks that I see are some kind of funny, like either a weird prank or a funny educational sort of thing or like animal stuff, but it's not people doing dances anymore. And I'm not seeing like, although I never have because my algorithm on YouTube has always been like narcissistic abuse and never like pizza reviews. So I don't know what's going on YouTube. I never have.
That should be a dating profile requirement. You have to share a screenshot of your algorithm or you have to share a 5-second scroll of your algorithm. Yeah. What is it?
No way. I would never get a date. I would never get a date. I'm, in the dating pool. And once I'm like, ready to like start sharing bios of whatever apps I'm on, I'll let you know how it goes. But you're not wrong.
It's so funny. Like the idea of like, oh man, I just saw a puppy on a capybara. What about you?
I'm looking up borderline personality disorder and how you shouldn't date someone who is going to try to kill you.
So go to the mall.
Yeah, go to the mall. Hook up in real life. Yeah.
Well, your food thing actually made me think of the news story this week. Do you want to talk about it?
I do. It's your news story. I'm excited to hear more about it.
I'm so excited too.
Should we shout out Centair? Because we love these guys, even though this is actually not officially sponsored by them, but we just love you guys at Centair. And they sent us this thing that's pumping out the most delicious scent right now for us to enjoy. And I hope you can still use our code. Go over and try it. Grub.
25% off.
Yeah, if it still works.
I mean, we smoke this joint in here, and all I smell is
baked cookies.
Yeah,
it's good.
So I thought for the news this year, because I'm starting to get so frustrated with political news, especially in cannabis.
God. Yeah,
like Biden at the end of the last year, it's worth calling out. It's worth saying, thank goodness, get people out of prison.
Yes.
What are we talking about? All day, every day, but not enough. Way too late. I need big moves.
Yep.
So my thinking, if I can pitch to you live.
Just really quickly for anyone who doesn't know what happened at the end of the year, Biden issued some more federal expungements, pardons for people who had federal cannabis charges. I can't even get it out because it's just like, it's meaningful, but also it's like on the grand scale of things, he's not doing enough.
Absolutely. And speaking of sponges, that one you gave me for the holidays is amazing.
What did I give you?
The face.
A Scrub Daddy?
Scrub Daddy. Shout out Scrub Daddy. Also not a sponsor, but heck of a sponge.
Great. Love Scrub Daddy. Number one Shark Tank product of all time.
Well, Yes. So my thinking was for news this year for the Grub Gazette, what if we also come up and find really cool news that would be fun for people to share in a smoking circle or during a sesh or with their friends, just being stoned and being like, I heard about this.
Mhm.
So I thought I could maybe start something like that for if there's a slow news week, we can share something that one of us thinks is really cool that might be fun for other people to share while they're smoking and hanging.
Let's hear it.
All right.
I'm here to hear it.
So my Grub Gazette this week is a paper written by Anders Sandberg, who is a University of Oxford Future of Humanity Institute, and he wrote a paper about what if the Earth turned into a giant pile of blueberries.
This guy has a doctorate?
Yeah, and he's writing papers.
Nice. Okay.
So the big question is, and he did math, he did all the science math. You know how like it uses like Greek stuff and it has numbers but also letters, but it's still math somehow.
Mathematics it's
right.
Pretty amazing.
I got questions about that. You're
It's-
telling me a number is a letter, but it's also an idea.
Yo, you
but
didn't
it's
like
also
algebra?
A
I
fact.
loved algebra.
No, I had to cheat through it. Anyway, so the big question is, what if our Earth suddenly turned into a same size, but it just turned into a pile of blueberries?
Okay.
The short answer, things would start exploding.
Yes.
Long answer, and please interrupt me because I'm going to try and go slow, but I think all of this is fascinating.
Okay. Just let me get this straight. He published an actual research paper on this, or this is like he wrote an op-ed for the school newspaper
No, this
or
is
something?
a factual, scientifically researched in a journal, locked in. This is what would happen if the Earth was made of blueberries.
Wow.
Piece of.
He had time.
He had time.
Okay.
Real fun.
Carry on.
Okay. So it's big. I should explain just very clearly. The Earth is spontaneously, instantly replaced with an equal volume of closely packed but not compressed blueberries.
Okay.
So the thing about that is, you know how blueberries, there's going to be space for air in between those blueberries because they're not square, so it's not a perfect fit. And because there would be that air in between blueberries, our gravity would immediately drop by 87%.
Oh, wow.
So if you weighed 150 pounds, you'd only weigh 20 pounds as soon as all that blueberry and air took over.
Okay.
And then because of that low gravity, things would all start changing really fast because all that air trapped between blueberries would rush to the surface as the blueberries start to collapse on themselves because air is escaping like a balloon. So all of the blueberries that make up the Earth are getting pulled in by that gravitational pull, and then huge bubbles would burst onto the surface, and the interior of the planet would just become a steaming pile of thick blueberry jam. Almost right away.
Wow.
So geysers of jam are going to be shooting up, which would then cause, because of the core, the worst earthquake ever. So now you've got blueberry tsunamis, you've got buildings collapsing because of the blueberry earthquake.
Yeah.
And while all of that is going on and everything heats up drastically, turning into boiling jam and steam, there would be an ocean of jam on top of a frozen core called a blueberry granita. And if you know what a granita is from food, it's when you freeze something and then you scrape it and it just becomes like a delicious, like almost like ice treat. And they usually do it with fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And so our core would become a blueberry granita compressed into a solid by that extreme pressure and gravitational pull.
I don't understand how that works because isn't the core of the actual Earth that is not a blueberry very, very hot with magma? So why is he positing that the very center of a blueberry Earth would be cold?
I'll read this and maybe it'll help, but maybe not. Everything heats up drastically by about 143 degrees Celsius or 258 degrees Fahrenheit, thanks to that gravitational energy release, until the entire environment is boiling jam and steam. The result is a world that has a steam atmosphere covered in blueberry jam on top of a warm blueberry granita, which is a hot core of blueberry ice compressed into a solid.
Does it say hot core of ice?
Yeah, hot core of blueberry ice.
How high is this person? I don't understand what a hot core of ice looks like.
Well, there's a link that would explain that, but I don't want to click the link. Should I click the link?
I don't know.
But then I have to read quietly a whole nother term paper.
Yeah.
So maybe I won't click that link. Okay.
But let's put a link to this in the show notes and people can DM us and weigh in and like, what do you think about this?
Yeah. Now, what about the sky?
Okay.
Would it still be bluish with beautiful clouds?
Okay.
No, it would not. Oh, it would still be bluish with all of those clouds. The problem is because the gravity released so quickly and everything compressed so fast into molten magma jam that our moon's gravitational pull would be released and it would shoot the moon into orbit.
Okay.
And we would no longer have a moon.
Well, that would be a drag.
That would be a drag. It'd be real.
Oh, it wouldn't be a drag, actually.
Yeah. Hey. And so there are still many open-ended questions after this paper was produced. You know, will all that hot blueberry sugar ferment into alcohol? Will bacteria still be able to live? What about the cockroaches? We haven't tested them with hot blueberry jam yet. Where do they live? So there's a lot more to mine into, as they say, and get deeper with. What happens to antioxidants? What happens to iron and all of the...
What happens to all of the creatures?
All the things.
Yeah.
Or is it truly just a swirling
Does everything,
jam
it's
ball?
just like an extinction level event.
Yeah.
With the big berry bang.
And a big berry bang? Come on, Mary Jade.
Yeah, well, I think everything's dead, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think this sounds good at all. But, you know, carry on.
Big berry bang. God damn it. You rock. You rule. So anyway, then he goes on to answer if he thinks that this kind of paper is worthwhile, and he kind of backs up why he did it.
Oh, he does think it's worthwhile?
Yeah, he was like, this is both pedagogical and amusing way of applying standard planetary science modeling to a system. Given how exotic exoplanets have turned out, the physics of a blueberry Earth would actually be a fairly normal compared to what is actually out there in our universe.
Okay, so it's just like a fun experiment in sort of wondering what distant planets might look like, not what it would actually look like if Earth became a blueberry.
No, this is about if Earth was a blueberry.
Right, but it's a way of imagining what other planets could look like as well.
It's also saying, like, let's push the thinking to what the heck could be out there.
I'm so glad you read that little bit because I was like, I just kind of resent this guy. There's like more important shit to fucking be written about and researched, but now I understand and I appreciate it. And I'm like, yeah, it is amusing. And it's felt like scientists actually are like really geeky and funny in so many ways. Like when they like get into, you know, they're like science jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
They're the most fun. It's great. I like this guy.
Yeah.
What's his name again? Anders.
Dr. Anders.
Dr.
Don't make me
Anders
pull it
at
back
Oxford.
up,
No, it's
man.
okay. I just want to look into him and like what else he does because he sounds like kind of like a, you know, Neil deGrasse Tyson or like a Bill Nye, like a fun person to follow and learn more from about science and astrophysics and all
Anders
that kind of
Sandberg.
stuff. Anders Sandberg.
Mhm.
Awesome. I'm going to follow him and learn more.
So,
Hopefully he has other funny papers to read.
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Well, this is a real arty up. I'm into it. Let's fill it up.
I also just am very confused by the hot granita ice, but we don't need to even talk about it anymore. I will say, yeah, I think it would be an extinction level event for everything.
Yeah, like, I mean, to even make jam, you have to boil sugar. And if that was on your body, that's a third degree burn right
Sounds
there.
awful.
So yeah, I think we all, it's like a sticky Pompeii.
Great. We're all just like trapped in the amber.
Trapped in jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful.
Jam packed.
Yep.
Okay. I
All
mean,
right.
your blueberry Big Bang is the best joke. I could try, but I'm not going to get there.
Do we have time for a little cream corner?
Oh yeah. Do you want to skip how I almost shit my pants on New Year's Eve?
No, I don't.
That's what happened. We can move on.
Let's hear it.
No.
What happened?
We both spent New Year's Eve just fucking like I didn't go out. I had all these plans to take Molly and go dance and take mushrooms and turn up. And instead, I truly got some turnips because I went to a great 24-hour Mexican restaurant, ordered a bunch of food, and on the walk back, everything just dropped in my stomach, and I almost shit my pants at 12:01.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. What about you? What'd you do?
I stayed, you can see it if you're watching our YouTube. This is what I did. I made a ritual candle out of an orange with an intention inside and a bunch of little bits of rose petals and some sage from a hike that I recently went on. And I put like intention into it. And then I lit it and pulled a tarot card and then sat it and watched it burn into a crisp. And it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
My orange candle. Yeah, it was neat. I'm very glad I put it in Pyrex though, because I was just going to light it like sitting on a little, you know, a dish. And then I put it inside a Pyrex bowl because I was like, I'm not sure how this is going to go. And then the flames shot up so high that I ended up taking the whole thing outside and watching it burn outside because it didn't feel safe to have in my house. So if you're making your own candles, just, beware.
Is it because of the orange, the zest and the pulp and the citrus? Like, you know how you spray an old fashioned and you light it and it sparks?
Yeah.
It was the orange that was so flammable?
It was a bunch of, because I also had like rose petals and sage and different like dried plants in the wax, so those kept like lighting and flaring. And then when it got to the actual orange rind, it truly burned into a clean white ash. The only thing that was left was a crystal that I had put in there.
Oh, that's so fucking powerful.
Yeah, it was neat.
God damn.
It was neat. So that's what I did.
Also, witches don't get enough credit for their fire safety.
Yeah, it's important to know about fire.
There's no history about witches boiling, brewing, and using everything at their disposal to like put good energy into the world and also not burn down their hay roof.
Right.
Credit to the witch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huh.
Witches are very safe.
Witches are so much safer.
Yeah, it's not the witches you need to worry about. Like, why do they teach us to be afraid of the witches? They're not actually the ones who are fucking straight up murdering people.
How about that?
So,
how about that?
How about a little cream corner?
Let's do a little cream corner.
I brought us some David Chang noodles to try. They might have congealed a little bit because they've been sitting, but we'll see. Thank you for these, Mike. I got a very special Christmas package full of all sorts of different components. It was really fun to open because you kept handing me things and I was like, oh, eggs, oh, scallions, oh, expensive mirin, oh. And then I opened up some David Chang Momofuku chili crisp oil and these David Chang, I don't need to keep saying David Chang, but they are his noodles from his Momofuku line of food. Exactly.
My understanding, without having read much yet, is it is eggs, meat, red meat, bacon, fat, and then for me, vegetables are so important. I love vegetables. I love a big steak salad. And so it's like no sugar, no carbs, no white flour.
Just a lot of animal protein.
Animal protein, good fat, some avocado in there.
Okay.
And so for me, like if I could make that my diet and just eat steak and vegetables and exercise, I'm really thinking I'll feel good.
Great.
So to start that off, I got Bloodso's barbecue delivered last night, which is like brisket, rib tips, chicken.
They're on La Brea, right?
They're on La Brea.
Ooh, I love that place.
But also because I haven't fully committed to the carnivore diet yet, I got banana pudding.
Oh, no way.
So I thought I would bring some creamed corner banana pudding because I got to tell you, as desserts go, I think that a BP might be for me.
Yep. This is.
How do you feel about banana pudding?
I will bathe in banana pudding. I will stuff my pillowcase with banana pudding and go to sleep on it. I will make banana pudding my fucking dating bio. Here's my For You page and a picture of me bathing in banana pudding. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good way to start the carnivore diet.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. It's perfect sweetness. A vanilla wafer is the unsung hero of the dessert world, in my opinion.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Vanilla wafers don't get enough credit. They are a great crust. They are a great pudding insert. They are such a top cookie, even on their own. They're not too sweet.
That's just so, I just got that feeling when you eat something that harkens back to, a million times, like when you were like a kid and you were kind of sick and you're like, your mom brought you pudding in bed, or, when you were sad over a heartbreak, when you were like in your 20s and you treated yourself to some banana pudding. Like this is just like, it just connects me to a bunch of different times when I felt better for eating
beautiful.
something sweet. And I just felt that little warm glow in my tummy just go like, oh yeah.
Wow.
You feel better because you ate it.
Wow. That's awesome.
Oh my God, that's good. Okay.
It's really good, right? Okay, so ramen and banana pudding.
Take it away.
Good.
Lovely. Good
So
cream
far, so
corner.
good cream corner.
Awesome. I am going to commit to always bringing something to smoke and eat on this podcast with you, because I know there's been some weeks where we've just been crazed and we show up at the studio just like both rolling in from a million things going on, and we haven't necessarily always taken the time. So I'm going to recommit to that at the top of this year.
I would love that.
Dope.
Even if it's just like, for me, I'm not cooking as much right now, but even if it's something like a banana pudding from a great place, like
Great.
I can lean in with you as well into that.
Perfect.
Okay, let's do
Let's do it.
Ooh, I'm excited for this year's apps. Speaking of, do you want to get to Buds of the Week?
Let's get to Buds of the Week.
Do you want to go first or second?
It doesn't matter to me. I'm good either way.
What's the first? Oh, there's a banana pudding picture. Oh, I'll go first because it's the first picture. My Bud of the Week this week. Thank you to my friend Eddie Furth at I Am Eddie Furth, a great comic, a great producer. And he just gave me some really kind text recently, and he also pushed me to do something in stand-up that I'd never done before. And so ending last year, he created with his friend Ryan the Netflix show Historical Roast Battles.
Woo, yeah.
He created that.
Wow.
And now he's doing fictional roast battles, and he's in talks with Disney to do it for Disney for all their new movies, because you can do a fictional roast of Beauty and the Beast. You can do a fictional roast of Aladdin. And so hopefully, but we did a fictional roast of Santa Claus, and I played the menorah. And I've really never written roast jokes, and I've never pushed myself to write some like bawdy, mean, fucked up comedy before.
Yeah.
And it was so fun, and it was nerve-wracking, and I got some laughs from writing things that just aren't really in my wheelhouse and don't come naturally to me. And so him giving me that opportunity to be the menorah, which is a big deal. I'm the only Jewish candle holder on stage. So it was awesome. And then on top of that, on New Year's Eve, he just sent me this really long text that was very, very meaningful to me. And I just feel really close to the guy. And so my Bud of the Week this week, to start out the year right, is Eddie Furth for his kindness, generosity, and opportunities, and being a good friend.
Nice.
Yeah.
And always with the fits.
Oh, yeah. And one of the jokes is, well, Santa, you actually do, though, have a great beard. Mrs. Claus.
Hey-o.
Hey-o. You helped me with that one.
It was fun also listening to some roasts, like when you were working on that and you were playing me clips of like, is it Hannibal?
Yeah.
Roasting
Justin Bieber. Yeah.
And the whole time he's just like, I just don't like you, man.
So, yeah. I'm just here because it's going to help my career. Your music sucks.
Yeah.
My name's Hannibal.
That's not even a joke, man. You're just being like mean. Fucking fuck. It's being good at roasts is just like so amazing. That's so cool that you had a great time and got laughs and stuff. So
it was great. My favorite joke bombed.
Oh.
You know how Santa's a pedophile and it's real tricky with him?
It's tough.
Well, you know what he secretly calls his sleigh?
What?
The Noel Lita Express.
Yeah, it's tough.
Mark, don't look at me.
It's tough.
I thought that when I closed my eyes and went to bed and woke up the next day, I was like, here comes a crusher.
No, nobody wants it. Nobody likes it.
You're right. Except one.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, who's your bud?
My bud of the week. My buds of the week are just the women in my life in general. My fucking sisterhood. It's so strong on so many levels. But in particular, I wanted to call out this thread that I'm on. And the thread is just called Meow. And they're the trusted Meows. It's my 3 friends who are on this thread, Lauren, Kyria, and Michelle. And they have just like been giving me holiday joy the whole time. Like when I had a sandwich right before Christmas that I made blow up on TikTok, they were on this thread just gassing me up all day. You could see on the YouTube, I posted a little snapshot of it, like of them just going like, 1 million is so close, so proud of your work, we're gonna break 1 million. And then Kyria's like, I'm dying of one cramp at a time, but I'm still checking in the numbers. And like they, and then like I got my hair cut today and they like immediately all like texted it on the thread and they were like, it looks so good, that frames your eyes so perfectly. And I was just like, holy shit, I feel so supported and loved, and like it makes me want to cry because it just is so meaningful. So thank you to you 3 in particular, and just all the women in my life. And like just, sisterhood's important and community is key, and I'm feeling the love.
That's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's awesome. Great bud of the week.
Great buds of the week. And so much to come, 2024 is like, I think going to be really hard in so many ways. And so we've got to gird our loins and like be ready to do all the things we have to do, but also remember to be so kind to ourselves and each other throughout it, because otherwise you're not going to get through.
Yeah, we're going to battle fascism with fucking Ferris wheels you can actually ride. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
And ensure access to legal and safe abortion and so many other things.
Yeah.
Whew. Follow us at Weed and Grub on Instagram. Email us at wg@weedandgrub.com. Please go check out our tour dates, because we'd love to sell tickets to those shows so we can book all the other shows coming to all the cities near you. What else, Mike?
I think it would be different if it was strawberry jam, because the shape of the strawberry would actually plug the air pockets that the blueberry allows. So a strawberry planet might be more stable.
Heard. Let's ask Anders what he thinks.
Okay.
Is that it for this week?
I think that's it for this week. We smoked, we hang, we snack, we hugged it out.
Yeah.
For me, that's a good start to 2024. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
Leave a review, leave a 5-star click. Go on our Spotify, go on our YouTube, click the like button, smash that subscribe if people are still saying that.
And DM us with your thoughts. We're so grateful for people who like reach out to say things and let us know when something hits and when something doesn't. It's like really cool that you're like just messaging us to let us know what's up.
Yeah, I've been held accountable.
We both have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good.
It is good. It is actually good, Mike.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Let's all be sprouts.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.